We're joining us now, the director of the Mississippi Film Office, and it tickles me to death that she is so busy on a regular basis. Nina Parikh joins us. How are you this morning, Nina?
Good morning. How are you doing? I'm just, I'm still in a little bit of a holiday fog.
Yeah,
in between Christmas and New Year's fog.
I'm going to tell you, the only way to deal with that is to give in to it. Just ride the wave. I think you're doing fine. I would say that it's been a busy year for the film industry in Mississippi, but that's been every year for the last several years, hasn't it?
You're right. It has been. We've been so fortunate, and I'll say that that's particularly special for this year because across the nation and across the world, the film industry has been slowed down because of if you recall, we had some strikes in the industry last year, the writer's strike and the actor's strike, which affect everything. So it's not specific to Mississippi, but after those strikes happened, the industry has not bounced back as quickly as expected. So my colleagues across the country have been complaining about it being slow there, whereas while it has been timed it slower here, we've actually had projects throughout the course of the year. So I was really proud of Mississippi for the fact that we're not dependent on big Marvel movies and the big studio films. We are really focused on independent films, and so those independent films are still happening. So we're kind of in a sweet spot for filmmaking in a time when it hasn't bounced back quite yet in the way that we expected across the nation. So we had a pretty good year considering.
Do you still talk to people occasionally when you bring this up and you start talking about this outside the industry that are amazed at the fact that the film industry has a significant presence in the state of Mississippi?
So I think most people are like, what? There are movies being made in Mississippi? Even Mississippians don't realize that this is happening in the state. So it's something we're real proud of, particularly since, our state embraces creativity. We know that. We've known that for a long time, that it's not just writers and visual artists and musicians, of course. We're known for all of those things. But I think people are starting to understand that filmmaking is something that's been happening here in Mississippi for a very long time, and it's happening more frequently at a higher level. We have incredible support across the state, and so it's just been cool to watch that grow and people starting to become involved in a way that they hadn't expected they could do so in Mississippi. So I like to say that in our office we get to be the dream makers sometimes, because it seems like you can't do that in Mississippi, but you can. And we really every day look forward to that opportunity to share with people, particularly students that we go visit, that this can happen in Mississippi.
Now, let me ask you, we talked about this year. What were some of the highlights for this year in the film industry in Mississippi?
Well, I would say it just really in the end of this year has been quite a highlight. We had 2 movies just pop up out of nowhere. One was called The Neglected, that happened here in the Clinton area, and that popped up out of nowhere. So movies tend to, usually there's some pre-production that's happening, and you can anticipate it's going to happen. This is brought to us by a producer that's worked here before, and I would say that's our biggest highlight, is that we have repeat producers. They come here once, they have a great experience, and in this particular case, this producer's been here, I think, 6 times now, and they have worked in the Clinton area over and over again. So the city of Clinton and that community has really embraced filmmaking in a way that was unexpected. So that was a great surprise. And the star of that was Josh Duhamel, who's also been here twice. So to see that happen over and over again. And then we also had a smaller film made by a local producer, Emil Wilson, and he's been making films here over and over again. So to see that continue, where we have filmmakers that are based in Mississippi and they are making feature films now. So when I started 26 years ago, we had filmmakers that were making short films, but they weren't yet making feature films. And so now we've got them making feature films in the state of Mississippi, telling stories that are either unique to Mississippi or not, but they're employing Mississippians. And seeing that growth has been incredible.
Well, and that's the thing people have to realize when you talk about employing Mississippians. You're not just talking about acting in front of the camera and extra work, which, by the way, if you ever wanted to be in a movie, a lot of these productions require extras, and they put out casting calls all the time. But you're talking about everything from carpenters to electricians, aren't you?
You're right. Yeah, absolutely. Essentially, whatever your interest is or your talents are, there's probably a job in the film industry for you. If you like to cook, we need caterers, and we need craft service. Craft service are the people that provide the snacks throughout the day. If you are in cosmetology, obviously hair and makeup is important. Wardrobe, electricians, artists of all sorts, visual artists of all sorts, to build the sets and to decorate those sets. It's, if you like to blow things up, there's special effects that have to happen. So it really is a place where all arts come together and all crafts come together.
Well, you're about to get flooded with calls and emails from people saying, I like to blow stuff up. It's a little more complicated than that. You have to do it safely. But yeah,
right.
Still, you can check into that. Is there, and this is a touchy question, I know it always is, are there any productions coming up that you can talk about? That's the key part of that question.
Right. Well, I can't mention any titles yet, but I will say that we will have projects on the Gulf Coast, and we will have projects in the Jackson metro area that are gearing up for the early part of the year. So those things will be coming up. I am expecting that 2025 is going to be busy. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of inquiries. Scripts are coming in to the office, and we are reading those scripts. So the process usually starts with we get a phone call or an email, and they want to know if we have certain locations. So we'll tell them yes or no. We don't have mountains, but we do have rolling hills, or whatever the case may be. And then those scripts come to us. We read the scripts. We try to figure out the best places in the state where it could be possible for those, and then we send them examples of those locations around the state. And hopefully they are enticed by that, and they come to Mississippi to scout in person. And hopefully they will choose Mississippi to locate. So we're in the process with a number of films that are making those decisions, and some that have made those decisions already.
I would be remiss, I'm a Southwest Mississippi boy down here in Pike County. I would be remiss if I didn't bend your ear and go, hey, send one down here.
Hey, the beauty of this industry is that it can be anywhere at all. So you may get one there in Pike County.
Hey, stranger things have happened, right?
Right.
It's going to be a big year. I can feel it, especially now that the strikes are behind us for a couple of years and everything got back up to full speed. I think we're really going to see things start to ramp up for 2025. I think you're exactly right. And that's nothing but good news for us as the film industry in Mississippi continues to grow. Do you see it continuing to grow?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have more educational programs supporting this craft and this art form around the state. We have government, municipal governments locally that are supportive. We have legislators that have been supportive. I can't see anything but growth for this industry. So it's a very exciting time. Very exciting.
Let me ask you one final question before we go here. And you may not know this. Is there any kind of estimate of what kind of economic impact the film industry is having on Mississippi? It's not negligible.
It is not negligible. That's correct. Most projects that come here are taking advantage of a cash rebate program, so that's very attractive. So I'll just say that if we are maxing out our rebate program at $20 million a year, then they're probably spending $75 to $90 million in the state for the year, and then that impact can be, at this point, we've looked at a study that the IHL has done, and they're saying that that's probably upwards to 56 cents per dollar